Your matcha is bitter, and we're going to fix it. There's a few mistakes you might be making in the selection, storage, and preparation of matcha that could be making your matcha dull and bitter. By the end of this video, you'll end up with a smooth and flavorful matcha without adding any sugar. First, let's start with the basics. How to choose good matcha. The biggest reason your matcha can be bitter is that you're using the wrong kind. Just like with any other food product, there are varying levels of quality. On one end of the matcha spectrum, you have the cheap stuff. These are made from the less desirable leaves of the tea plant. They could be from later harvests, older leaves, and they could contain stems. This produces a yellow color and a very bitter flavor. Normally, these cheaper matcha powders would be used in recipes to make matcha ice cream, cakes, or matcha lattes. Unfortunately, these powders are also sold as drinking matcha, so many people end up paying top dollar for bitter matcha. On the other end of the spectrum, we have premium first harvest matcha. This is what we're looking for when we meet with farmers in Japan. We want to find that super green matcha that's higher in nutrients and richer in flavor. I'll never forget my first sourcing trip with Neo-Teas when I got to meet with farmers in Shizuoka and try true premium matcha tea right from the source. The difference is staggering, and most people have never had really good matcha. The reason first harvest matters all has to do with timing. The plant has all winter long to build up nutrients from the soil, and it releases those nutrients into the fresh sprouts during the springtime. The tea plant can be harvested later in the spring and summer, but there isn't as much time to replenish, so the nutrients will be lower and the flavor will be more bitter. Premium matcha also has a more careful production process. The long shading increases the amino acid and chlorophyll content of the leaves, which makes the powder greener and less bitter. The farmer carefully selects the youngest, most nutrient-dense leaves and will remove the stems to improve the flavor even further. Finally, premium matcha will be stone ground rather than machine ground. This process is slower, but it creates a finer grind and it introduces less heat, preserving the nutrients inside the powder. A finer matcha powder not only has a smoother texture, but it also produces a better foam, richer flavor extraction, and it remains in suspension longer, so it doesn't settle to the bottom of the bowl. So we want to go for first harvest matcha from a reputable producer. You also may want to select a smoother variety of matcha. A majority of the tea produced in Japan is yabukita, which can have a strong, slightly bitter flavor. But there are more exotic varieties like okumidori, saimidori, and goko, which can produce smoother, more umami-rich flavors. If you're not sure which cultivar to start with, why not try a few at once? Our matcha sampler includes the best matcha we found around Japan, from many different cultivars, regions, and individual tea farms. Try a few to see which one is your favorite, and you'll never have bitter matcha again. But even great quality powder can end up as bitter tea if you prepare it improperly. Later on in the video, we'll show you how to prepare matcha like a pro, but first, we need to talk about storage. Because matcha is ground into such a fine powder, it's incredibly sensitive to light, heat, and humidity. If stored improperly, even high-quality matcha will start to look like low-quality matcha, with a dull yellow color and a flat, bitter flavor. You'll want to keep it tightly sealed in an opaque, airtight container after you open it. You'll also want to keep it away from your kitchen because the odors and humidity from cooking can seep into the powder. To be extra safe, you'll want to consume matcha within a month of opening it. You'll also want to avoid ordering larger containers of matcha or opening too many at once. This is another reason the sampler works, because each serving of tea is individually sealed, so you never have to open multiple at once. So that covers selecting matcha and storing it, but when you make the tea, it's still bitter. So what's happening? Before we get to that, if you're enjoying this video so far, we would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel and like the video to see more like it in the future. Now let's get to the preparation. So matcha is unique in the world of tea because rather than being extracted, it's mixed directly into water as a suspension. But that's not the whole story. Matcha also brews while it's in the water. You're drinking the suspended matcha particles, but also the dissolved water-soluble components. The bitter catechins of the leaf are only extracted at higher temperatures, so temperature still matters, and hot water can make bitter matcha. We recommend using a temperature between 60 to 70 degrees Celsius or 140 to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. This will ensure that the water extracts plenty of flavor from the matcha without too much of the bitterness. Using too much matcha will also leave you with a bitter bowl. Try it with 2 grams of powder and 80 milliliters of water. If you find this flavor to be a bit mild, you can always up the dosage later. Last but not least, the foam you create on a matcha can help the bitterness. This foam gives the matcha a light and airy consistency, so it tastes almost like a latte, but without milk or sugar. Good foam comes down to high quality matcha, correct powder to water ratio, and using the right technique. The bamboo matcha whisk, or chasen, does the job when it comes to producing foam on top of your matcha. These 100 bristles move through the water quickly to inject air into the tea and produce a dense foam. You can use a metal whisk, but you won't be able to get as thick of a foam, which will make the matcha taste less smooth. When whisking the tea, hold the whisk loosely above the bamboo notch and move it back and forth quickly in zigzag motions using your wrist. This may take a little while to master, but once you get the hang of it, you should be able to produce beautiful, foamy bowls of matcha in a matter of seconds. But why don't we just add sugar to the matcha to make it less bitter? Adding sweeteners can be a way to mask the deficiencies of a low-quality matcha, but when it comes to the premium stuff, we don't want to do that. The farmers have worked so hard to capture a specific flavor profile in these matcha, and to experience it just as they intended, you need to drink the matcha plain. Rather than adding sugar to matcha, find a matcha that tastes so good you don't want to add anything to it. This connects you to matcha in its purest form, allowing you to savor all aspects of the plant. Take your time to sip slowly and appreciate the subtle nuances of the matcha. So hopefully this has helped you fix your bitter matcha. If you want to try the best matcha we found during our travels around Japan, you can find them all on our website, neoteas.com. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you next time.